This podcast is meant for mature audiences only and contains strong sexual language.
This is the black and kinky lifestyle.
With the bar and the
All right, everybody, welcome to the Black and Kinky Lifestyle Podcast. This is the Bomber speaking.
And the Bell.
And thank you for tuning in with us today. Thank you for sticking with us. For those of you who've just been listening episode after episode, we heard there's some bingers out there. In this episode, we're going to be talking about, oh my gosh, this is the first episode we're recording since the Amour Getaways Labor Day pool party, Afro-Caribbean pool party. And we're going to be talking about our 5 sexiest moments because, well, some of the moments aren't quite sexy, but they're just moments. I just thought it was cool to call them sexy.
Why can't they just be the best or most exciting or enjoyable?
Well, you saw the title before we started recording. You had the ability to edit, and you just didn't. So here we are with the sexy moments. All right. So before we get there, we're going to do a whole bunch of stuff. So just letting y'all know, it's going to take us a while to get to that topic, but it was fun. Thank you to everybody who came out. It was a blast.
We had a great time.
Yeah. So we'll get into that in a second, but I think this is also the first episode we're recording since we had attended the Dinner on Blanc 2019 DC edition.
Yes.
And it was really, really fun.
It was, yeah. I mean, we've only been to 2, but that was the best. The other one was shitty as hell. But this one was great. I had a great time.
Yeah, there was just a few. So basically, for those of you who didn't hear our last episode, so Dinner en Blanc is basically this all-white pop-up dinner party. You don't really know where the location of it is until like the very last minute. And basically, it pops up. It could pop up in the middle of the street. It could pop up. It could pop up at a park. It could pop up anywhere. One time, it was in front of the Capitol. In New York. I think it was in Central Park. I mean, it could pop up in your grandmama's house. You don't even know. It could be anywhere. Grandmama's basement, who knows?
I hope not.
Usually it's outdoors. It's like an outdoor all white dinner. All white meaning everybody's dressed in white. The tables are white. The decor is white or silver.
Yeah, but the one in DC is definitely all black.
Okay. All black, as in black people.
Yes.
It wasn't like that last year, though. It was a lot more. I think it was like 50-50 last year.
Yeah, it was definitely more diverse last year. And I don't know if it just was where we were sitting or the group we were with, but I didn't see very many white people.
Right.
Or people of any other ethnicity at all.
Right. It was kind of crazy. But there was one moment I just want to describe. So basically, when you come to these parties, you have to bring your table. We had our little cart. You have to bring your table. You got to bring your dishes. You got to bring your food. You got to bring your tableware, all that shit. And so we had a cart, and basically, we were with a group of white folks, not white folks, black folks dressed in all white. And when black people dress in white, they look really good. Like black people look good in some white. And there was some really elaborate, nice dresses, hot, sexy ladies, hot, sexy guys, just all in white with the jewelry on and the headwear on. And so... And most of them are black. So you can imagine as we're on this street, there are all these people walking by asking us questions. White people probably looking at us like, what kind of black party are they going to? Right. It must be a black party because there's nothing but black people.
Exactly.
So, we're walking towards the pop-up location, and there's this one Asian dude who is wearing a MAGA hat. I got to say it like Dave Chappelle. MAGA hat! And he's walking uphill, and he sees us, and he starts pointing at his MAGA hat and smiling with this evil smile. And how did you interpret that?
Oh, he, first of all, clearly he is confused because you're a minority too, dumbass. So I love somebody that was walking in our group and was like, he gonna deport your ass too. So I don't know why he's doing this. Yeah, so he was trying to be like, petty or something and racist, whatever.
I'm like, he's at war with one of the biggest Asian countries in the world right now, nigga. Like, so, but honestly, I didn't interpret that as having anything to do with Donald Trump.
How?
I interpreted it as, because first of all, black people are going to continue going to black parties with other black people and having a good time with black people without your ass, whether or not Donald Trump is in the White House. It doesn't matter. So it has nothing to do with Donald Trump. This dude was walking by, he saw these black sexy ass people going to a party he wasn't invited to, that he probably wished he was invited to, and he was like, he pointed at his hat as a giant middle finger because he knows black people don't like that shit. And he was like, yo, I'm wearing this hat, bitch. I don't give a fuck about your party. Well, we know you give a fuck about our party because you had to point at that motherfucking hat as you was walking up that hill, because you knew that there were all these sexy people walking by and you wasn't even going to get a piece or a taste of that shit. So shout out to another fucking mass shooter is probably born in DC.
Oh, Lord.
Just mad people, yo. There's people just upset at black people having a good time.
Right.
Motherfuckers calling the cops on us and shit. But we had police protection, security on staff. It was a good time. People were drinking, dancing. I hadn't danced like that in a really, really long time.
So long. I was on stage dancing. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I was sweated out. There was a little Soul Train line at one point.
There was like an actual Soul Train line. Like
it just formed naturally. Like
because black people.
I love that shit. What the hell? So that was fun. If you can ever go to Dinner en Blanc, we definitely recommend it. It is work, but it is well worth it. We also saw It Chapter 2 last night. And I'm not going to say any spoilers. I'm just going to say that Pennywise's mouth looks like a fucking vagina. And we just all need to fucking acknowledge that shit. It looks like a vagina with 3 fucking lights in the middle of it and sharp teeth.
So this felt to me like The Goonies or Sandlot, but horror based. Like it felt less of a horror movie and more of a like Friends coming of age movie, a la in the lane of Goonies and Sandlot, than it did a horror movie.
Yeah, that's been Stephen King's MO. He's made a lot of horror movies, particularly with kids as the main protagonist. It's actually a good tactic because if you are viewing a horror movie through the lens of a child, everything seems just a little bit more scary because you can never be quite convinced that the child is going to get out of this situation. But an adult is sort of more, what's that word? Resourceful. So it was pretty scary. I like the first one better, but this one had some really like under your skin moments. Yeah. And some real suspense. So check it out. It's a long ass movie though. Make sure you get something to eat beforehand. Shit is like 3 fucking hours. They could have shaved at least 30 minutes off that bitch. All right. I don't know why movies are so long these days. What the fuck is going on? They don't need to be that long though. Like fucking Infinity War, not Infinity War, the second one, Endgame did not need to be that fucking long. They could have shaved some time off of that. Anyway, let's get into some emails.
All right. So we have an email from RB. It says, good morning from Cali. Wanted to say first off, it's extremely refreshing knowing that there are black couples and people of color in the lifestyle. We are an interracial couple. I'm black and my girlfriend is Latina. We've been in the lifestyle for about 6 years. Started off playing with couples, then transitioning to a hot wife lifestyle. But what we've noticed is trying to find couples of color to interact with has been a struggle, and that struggle is so damn real. I had a question concerning a cruise we are going on in November. I heard one of your episodes where you guys mentioned you went on a cruise in April, I believe. Well, this is our first cruise and we kind of don't want to get our hopes up too high. So we're going in with an open mind. One of my questions is about the themed parties. To be honest, I'm not trying to wear neon, lace, or dress as some circus theme. Yes, these are the theme parties on the cruise. I was wondering, do we actually have to dress in the themes or can we just fall in the party dressed as we please? My next question is regarding drinking. We had talked about getting a drink card, but I had just suggested that we put drinks on a credit card. I think the drink card is like $7.50 each. Fuck all that.
Yeah, I love the way that ended.
Thanks, RB. So for your first question regarding finding couples of color, so you're in California. Yeah, I mean, it's hard all over. We're fortunate, I think, here, and we've talked about this a little bit, about the diversity of our area, and the diversity in the scene of our area. So it allows us the opportunity to meet a lot of couples of color. But when we've traveled to other places, it has been less of that experience with lifestyle finding couples of color. So it's good that you're going on the cruise, because that's always one of our recommendations if there's not a good source of couples of color in your area to travel. But also continue to reach out. Continue to, go on the websites. Cassidy is a big one for the West Coast, to see who's out there, who's throwing parties and that kind of thing. And, try to connect. You're not going to connect with everybody, but don't give up. Don't give up. We're out there. Couples of color are out there, but we're often harder to find, I think. We sometimes tend to be a little more private, and try to be more discreet. So it may be a little bit more difficult to find us, but keep pushing.
Yes, I would agree with that. I have nothing to add, so you can move on to the next question.
Okay.
What was his other question?
About the theme parties.
Yeah, this is the one I wanted to say a little bit about.
All right, go ahead.
So I can't remember, and you probably have a better answer to this. This is just a thought that came up, but I can't remember exactly what podcast it was. It was either the Swinger Diaries or Sex Uninterrupted. Somebody had a segment where they were talking about theme parties, and if you are throwing a theme party, what are some good ideas for a theme party? And I think oftentimes promoters will just sort of think of anything really creative, right? They'll so a fucking clown theme, circus theme or whatever the fuck, I don't know if that's gonna always work. But the reason why it doesn't, the themes, you need to be really careful about those, and this is for folks who are planning parties. You want to create a theme or use a theme that makes it easy for the men to look good. Like, it's easy for women to sort of, like, all these themes are basically built for the women, but oftentimes it works against the women because the women need something to look at too. So if you have a fucking circus theme, it's really hard for a guy to look sexy as a clown, or I don't know. I don't know what other circus ideas there are, but that's all I'm thinking of. And I mean, if you got guys looking like clowns at a party, that's really not sexy. And so that's the thought I had. I mean, it's anything that so somebody said this, and I think it was Swinger Diaries. Now I'm pretty sure it was, because I think one of the best pieces of advice was, like, any theme that gets the guy to put on some formal shit, button-down shirt, or like even like a suit, like if it's some kind of vampire theme and you want them to dress in like a suit, the guys are going to look good and the women are going to really like that shit. But if you have a theme that makes it really difficult for guys to look good, they're either not going to dress in theme like this man is. I think this is what he's trying to get at here. Or they are going to dress in theme and look like complete doofuses.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to add to that comment.
So, no, the theme is not mandatory. Y'all can just show up. Just make sure you look good.
Yeah, I mean, even when it comes to, like, you heard about our experience, or I think you have, when we went to NIN and we had this intergalactic thing going on. Yeah. I just put on a silver V-neck because I know I look good in V-necks, and silver is just really fucking intergalactic to me. So I just put that on, and I kept it simple. To the guys out there and to this writer, I'd say, yo, keep it simple. If I was going to a party and it was actually a circus theme, I'd probably just wear a pink shirt. I mean, or a multicolored shirt with like polka dots on it or something like that. Okay. I wouldn't put on like a clown nose or anything like that, because if I'm talking to somebody and I want them to think I'm sexy, it's going to be really hard to do with a fucking clown nose on. I think so. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'd say err towards what is flattering for you. Mm-hmm. And that's all I had to say about that.
And then the last question regarding the drink card, fuck that shit. Like, you can use your credit card to buy drinks, but you can also bring your own liquor.
Let's say just Google rum runners. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Just Google rum runners and you make your decision any way you want. But damn sure don't buy that damn drink package. Don't do it. You're just not going to drink that much. And no. And we went in November for the record. I think it was November of 2017 or something. Uh-huh. All right, next email.
KB's email. Hey, I'm a huge fan of your podcast and I'm very interested in your lifestyle. Problem is, I'm only attracted to black women, and where I live, black women are the least adventurous minded people you will ever meet. Okay, KB. I have one friend who's in the lifestyle, but she's currently pursuing a vanilla relationship, which impacts our playtime. Any suggestions on how I could open the minds a little? Here's a post I recently made in a group I created on Facebook called the G Spot. Now we're gonna have to look I don't know how y'all be doing these sexy Facebook groups. Maybe it'll best explain my dilemma. Maybe it's something you can address on your podcast. So here's the post. As adults, I would think that we all know or should know what we are doing in the bedroom. If you can't fuck, catch up. Regular sex becomes boring after so many years of slanging dick. But do you ever think of exploring the different levels of your sexuality? See, for a guy like me, I've done it all, excluding gay shit. Anything that can be done between a man and a woman or a man and several women, I've done. But I've never been tied up, for instance. I've never been in an orgy to a swingers club or even played with other couples. These are things I might be down for, but most of the women I meet are very limited in their imagination and willingness to explore new things. Therefore, I'm usually stuck in boring sexual repetitiveness. The only relief is an occasional threesome, which has become so routine. It's lost its flair. Am I the only one? Am I alone in my predicament? Can anybody else relate?
First of all, my nigga, threesomes have become boring. Jesus Christ, what kind of life are you living? Damn, yo, a lot of guys would kill to be this dude. All right, so I had several thoughts about this, but Belle, why don't you answer first?
So in terms of like, I guess the black women being repressed.
I totally agreed with him, but go ahead. Well, not totally, but just a little bit. Go ahead.
I mean, I don't know that I agree with him. I can understand how he could have that perspective, but being a black woman who is sexually freer, y'all niggas act like you don't like that shit.
Oh shit.
Right, exactly. Y'all no, because y'all are quick to call a girl a hoe, quick to call her a slut, talking about she run through all the homeboys, this and that and the third, because she's trying to get hers too. So how are you gonna say, yeah, a lot of black women may appear to be repressed because when they do try to explore their sexuality, they are
stigmatized.
They're stigmatized by it. So yeah, so why would I do that when you always talking about all these dudes will talk about, and you know, like guys talk just as much as women talk about sex and their sexual interactions, and they will be quick to talk about, oh, she a hoe, she this, that, and the third, all this and that, because she's wanting to express her sexuality. And I mean, that personally happened to me, so I know. But so I can't say that the women are repressed. I can understand it being that way as a protective mechanism. Now, there's also this whole other piece in terms of religion in the black community and, you know, protecting, the purity and piety of black women and protecting that, but black men can do whatever and whenever and not have any kind of repercussions or stigmatism against them. So that's a whole nother piece. But yeah.
No, I'm glad you mentioned the perspective of men playing a part in the problem that this writer was presenting. It's sort of it feels like it makes sense to blame the victim here, but I think men play a significant role, and I'd say other black women who are actually sexually repressed probably play a significant role too. I challenge you to Google the word hoe and slut, right? Find them shits in the Urban Dictionary, or just, look on a forum, and just see what the definitions are, because the definitions are exactly what you're trying to get women to do. Those things that you want them to do, that is what is used to describe a hoe. I also want to acknowledge that, we went to 2 different pool parties at the same location this summer. One of them was predominantly white. The other was predominantly black. And and it was like night and day. Like, the women were at the party that was predominantly white. The women were playing all over the place. They were playing in the pool. They were playing in the warm water area, whatever. They were just fucking everywhere. Just fucking everywhere. Play. Right. And then when we went to the black party, it didn't quite look like that. People were playing in the playroom, and people were sort of, kind of touching each other, but it didn't necessarily look quite as active. So I think we said this in another podcast, where like when we go to parties that are predominantly white, like I see white people playing a lot more than I see racial minorities playing.
White people also haven't been stigmatized for their sexuality historically.
Yes, exactly. And that was my point. I think that for black women, there is a need to feel safe when it comes to expressing sexuality. And unfortunately, due to black men, and I'd argue due to society at large, black women don't necessarily have that kind of freedom. Like, could you imagine if Michelle Obama had the Playboy history of the current first wife? Could you even imagine that shit? Like, we wouldn't have even supported that. Like, we would not have been behind the president behind that shit. But like, Obama, yo, take care of your household, my nigga. Like, you got your wife's titties all over the place. We wouldn't have handled that shit really well. So yeah, I'd say don't assume that black women are not as sexual or as open to these things, but I'd say respect the fact that society has not been as welcoming of those things.
Yeah, I would say, don't make assumptions, and then talk to people. First of all, ain't no woman obligated to be sexually liberated or do any kind of freaky shit with you regardless, right? So that's number one. But create a situation where a woman can feel safe to express herself. I think that's the key there. Like, if I know that I'm in a safe situation, that I can trust you, and that, you ain't gonna act stupid and wild out on me if I do this and then actually enjoy it and want to do it more, then I'm more inclined to engage in those different kinds of things. But if I don't feel like you're going to protect me in doing that, then no, I'm not going to do that. Or if I feel like you're going to judge me for what I do or want to do, no, I'm not down.
Right. And so I remember we were at a vanilla party one day, and we were going to hit up a lifestyle club, and we told a friend of mine that we were going to go. And so he met us at this restaurant, and he brought this, I guess, female friend of his with him.
I don't remember this.
You'll remember. I'm being purposely vague because I don't want to reveal identities here. But anyway, they met us. I'll say it was in New York. And he was really amped to go to this thing.
Okay.
He was really amped to go, and he's been trying to go to a lifestyle party for a while. I've been sending him information and telling him, because he's a good-looking guy, so he hangs out with a lot of girls. He has a long fuck list, and he just can't seem to get a woman to go with him to any of these spots, because it's all about the women. You can't just go a lot of these spots. A good party you can't just go to as a single male unless you are chosen. And so I keep wondering why he hasn't been able to do this. And he sounds like our writer here, somebody who really wants to do it but just hasn't been able to make it happen. Like an orgy is some shit you can just run into by accident at a fucking lifestyle party. So it's like it's just kind of interesting how all these good looking sought after guys can't make it happen. And what you just said kind of like just
light bulb.
Right. It just reinforced something I had seen. And the thing is, when we were with my vanilla friend and this girl, he was really trying to get her to go. And she was like, no, I don't want to go. Like, and I think in her head, she was just sort of like, if I go, like, am I going to be obligated to have sex with you? And if I have sex with somebody else, are you going to feel some kind of way? And if you see me having sex with somebody else, is that going to mess up my reputation? I could see all these thoughts going through her head. But every time she was alone, she kept coming up to us and she was like, are you guys going? Are you guys going? Are you guys going after this? Like, she really wanted to go, but she didn't want to go with him. If she went with us, she felt safer because number one, we would have went with her or without her regardless. We did not need her. We had no expectations of her. And I think she felt that. As a man, even if you just like talking to your homegirl and trying to bring her, you just have to respect the hesitation on her part.
Yeah.
And so, we brought
and key reason that she was alone because this nigga was all around in the bar talking to other bitches.
Yeah.
Like, so how am I gonna feel safe and protected? And we're in a regular vanilla spot. And I'm supposed to go to you with this spot with these people that I don't know in a situation that is completely unfamiliar. And I have to trust you. Not to say that she can't handle herself, because I'm sure she can. But still, like, if we're there not together, but we came together, I expect on your part as a man some responsibility for making sure that I'm okay.
Right.
But if I can't even trust you to do that in a regular spot, hell, I'm not going to no lifestyle spot with you and doing that.
And let me just again shout out Amour Getaways, because there have been these hotel socials she's thrown that people have come in fresh, like single women have just come in fresh, never having experienced any lifestyle shit, and once they felt safe, my nigga. Once they felt safe, they were aggressive, animalistic, busting nuts, sucking, fucking everywhere. Okay, there have been women who've come in for the first time that have been MVPs at Amour Getaways events.
And I mean, a part of that too is when you're with your people. In terms of as a black person with predominantly black people, that's automatically feels like a safer situation. So yeah.
All right, so I hope we helped your man out. Keep trying, but respect that safe issue. And honestly, if you can actually get a partner in crime to join you in welcoming other black women into the lifestyle, that might work. But as a single man, I'm sorry, it's going to be very difficult for you to bring women in. It typically
We've
is.
been doing that a little bit more.
What?
Bringing black women into the lifestyle. No, well, we've introduced now, I guess, one couple and one single female.
Yep.
To the lifestyle. Not exactly. It's still not flipping a vanilla. That's still on my bucket list. Like, I want somebody straight fresh. They don't know nothing. Like, we flip them. So we've done that personally, and like, I guess indirectly too, to some of our listeners and followers who have been introduced to the lifestyle now through us and have had their first experiences, have been encouraged to have their first experiences from listening to the show, because I mean, that's a part of it too. Like, we want to normalize the sexual exploration and normalize that there are different ways to be married. and different ways to manage that relationship. So it's really important to us that, you know, people feel comfortable and that they feel safe and they feel like this is something that if they are interested in, that they want to explore. You know, obviously if that's just not your bag, that's fine, no problem. But if you know us and you're like, hey, Bomber and Bell, I really want to, you know, see what this is about. But I'm nervous. I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. We love, you know, introducing people and, you know, taking them to events and all of that. And it's not, you know, that you don't have to play with us. That's fine. And that's sometimes even better. But we just want to make sure that you know, you feel comfortable and safe and, you know, you kind of have a home base to come back to if you're like, this situation is weird. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, definitely. No, thanks for adding that because I think that's helpful for a lot of other couples trying to, you know, just expand this world, expand this universe, get more people in this bitch.
Yeah, because that's how you find more black couples.
That's right.
Like you bring them in yourself.
All right, so let's quickly do our hit list because I want to get through this because I've been trying to get this off my chest for a while.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, man. There's this woman, this black chick on BuzzFeed, and I had a crush on her. She's been on a couple of like little skits like years ago, and now she's on this show called, what is the show called? It's Black
Lady Sketch Comedy Show, something like that. Yeah,
that's
on
right.
HBO.
Yes. Urge y'all to check it out if you haven't already. Definitely a show geared towards black women and black humor.
I think the favorite skit so far is like, I think it's inside a black woman's mind, and you didn't see this skit, but it's like there's a dude sitting outside her like apartment stoop, and like she's walking up and like all the thoughts that go through her mind as she's like about to approach this dude, like walk past him.
Oh, wow.
It was hilarious. I loved it.
I have to see that
Yes,
now
you do.
because that's very much related to what we were just talking about.
Yes.
All right. So her name is Quinta Bronson. So she has this really, I urge people to look her up. It's Quinta Bronson. Again, look up the show. You'll see what she looks like. She has this just chickmunk sort of face to me, like these high cheekbones when she smiles. She's dark-skinned. And I don't know, she looks like she'd be really fun. And I would really, really want an audience with this girl because she's really funny too. She's also been on an Amazon show called Quinta versus Everything that I have never heard of until I looked her up. So I'm going to check out that show. But Quinta Bronson, very sexy girl. And your hit list person is?
So it's David. I don't know how to say his last name. Gyasi. So I've been so I like fantasy, and so I've been watching. You hate fantasy.
Yes.
I've been watching this show Carnival Row, and it is like really shoving down your throat immigration issues, and like it's very, you know, I guess not political satire, but like it's like what's going on now, but in the fantasy world. So there's like fairies, and then there's also, I don't know, I guess they're like centaurs, because there's two different ones. There's like one that's like half horse, half man.
Yeah, that's a centaur.
But there's also there's a different one where it's like, I guess it's not a goat, but he's got horns. Anyway, so David Gyasi plays this character Agrias Astraeon, and so he's not half horse, but he has like hooves and like furry legs, but then the upper part of him is a man, but then his head has horns. So I don't know what mythical creature they call it a puck in the show, but the puck is like a derogatory term, so I don't like that. Anyway, he is sexy as fuck as a fucking half goat man.
There is a name for this fucking thing.
It is. There's a name for it. And like he had a sex scene with this human girl. Listen, it was sexy as fuck. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I'm not into furries and all that bullshit.
Fawns.
Okay,
That's
yes,
what
they're
called.
fawns. Yeah, so he's a fawn. So look that up so you know what I'm talking about. But
So
like
a sexy fawn?
yeah, because he's like he had abs and he's like dark skinned and glistening.
But the half of his body is goat though.
But it's really just like a dude with big legs that are hairy.
Furry legs, not just hairy. They got fur.
But it wasn't. It didn't look that bad.
Did they
in the
show his dick in the show?
No, they did not show his dick.
Have you seen what a goat's dick looks like?
No, but I
Let's look
assume
that
it's a
up.
human man dick because the girl had sex with him on the show.
So you would hold on. Okay, so I understand why you like the character, the actor.
Yes.
Are you saying that you would fuck a fawn? Is what I'm trying to get at. So he has horns now. You're gonna fuck this guy.
The horns aren't bad.
You would fuck a fawn.
I think so. Yeah.
This fantasy shit of yours is a little too deep for me right now. What other fucking mythical animals would you want to fuck?
I would fuck the fairies because you can fly and fuck at the same time.
So I saw that scene.
Yeah.
A guy flying with a fucking fairy and fucking at the same time, which I think would be extremely difficult. Because where is your leverage coming from?
What do you mean?
Well, the guy has to push up. So this was a cowgirl position.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So she's cowgirling.
Yeah, she's riding and floating at the same time.
Do you understand
But his
that?
legs are
Okay.
wrapped around hers. Like he was holding on to her.
All right. So I always thought that when it came to cowgirl, gravity played a very strong role. So am I wrong about that?
Well, I don't know. I've never done it like in midair.
No, you haven't done it in midair, but I mean, you would know if gravity is helping you out a bit. When you're going up, you don't have to worry about, I mean, when you're doing cowgirl, I imagine that the main force or exertion is through the push up, right? Am I wrong about that?
I think so.
You think I'm wrong about that?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never rode a dick before, so I don't know. So when you come down, is that not gravity helping you out, or are you?
Oh, I guess.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think that part of cowgirl would be difficult because there is.
But you could still push. She could still push against him to like pull up.
Push against him
because the legs are
pull
wrapped around each other.
Right. Okay. All right. I think I see that. Mm-hmm. It would still be extremely frustrating to fuck us in midair. I'm just saying that'd be difficult. It'd be cool. It
Right, it
was
would look
actually a
amazing.
very sexy scene. A fucking fairy, sexy ass fairy, flying while she's cowgirling a nigga. So, yeah. So that was cool. Okay, so you would fuck a fawn. All right. I discovered something new about the bell today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
It is a good show though. Y'all should check it out.
You know what I don't like about fantasy? This is what I don't like. This is what I don't like. I just want to say this real quick. What I don't like about fantasy is this is why I don't like Lord of the Rings and like Harry Potter. There's too much magical shit going on. No, but listen, there's so much magical shit going on that I'm never clear on what the rules of the show are. Like, I'm not sure, like, can people just be brought back from the dead? Is everybody just magical? Does everybody have powers? You got fairies with these abilities, fauns with these abilities, centaurs with these abilities. It's just too much to fucking think about. Like, I just want a movie to focus on one magical thing so that I'm grounded in that thing. Like, if it's just a vampire show,
Yeah.
I know the rules of vampires, right? They suck blood, they're fucking sexy, and they just fucking can't exist in the sunlight, and they live forever. And I get that. Like with when it came to True Blood, like I liked like the first season, and then the second season they started introducing all these other powers, and I'm just like, this is too much, man. I can't wrap my mind around all of this shit. It's just too overwhelming. So that's why I don't like fantasy. Moving on. All right, so let's talk about the Amour Getaways Afro-Caribbean Labor Day pool party. So we brought a single vanilla dark-skinned unicorn with us to the party. And she was she's an amazing friend of ours, and it was her first lifestyle experience ever. So we not only were emceeing this event, but we were also trying to make sure that this person was having a good time.
Yes.
And trying to make sure everybody else was having a good time.
Yes.
And everybody did have a good time because this party was awesome. So as we said, we were going to have games, we were going to have prizes and giveaways, and we were just going to have a blast.
Yes.
So we decided to just break this up into our 5 best moments. And so the first thing I wanted to talk about was the crowd. Mm-hmm. So what'd you think about the crowd, Bill?
The crowd was amazing. Like, it was a super sexy crowd. It was a lot of friends in the crowd. So thank you, friends, for supporting us. But it was a great crowd. Like, I don't like when parties are so crowded, like you can't move around, there's nowhere to sit. Like, I like a nice size crowd where you feel like it's a good group, but you also feel like you have some breathing room. Yep. So I very much thought it was a great crowd.
Right, and a lot of our fans had showed up.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, for listening to the show. We're so excited to meet you all. That was great. It's always nice to meet folks that like to listen to the show, and they like to put a face to the name too, or the voices rather. Right.
No, it was cool. I mean, there was some awkward moments though, because there are some people who know us as the Belle and the Bomber, right? Mm-hmm. They hear our podcast, they know that we were going to host. So as soon as we got the mic in our hands, they knew who we were. And then there are those who don't even listen to podcasts that were there, that knew us as who we are, and. You know, it was kind of interesting to balance those 2 aliases. I think we have like 3 or 4 now.
Yeah, I was forgetting who I was.
Right.
All the time.
it was really awkward because there were times where we were talking to multiple couples, right? And half of those couples would know us as the Bomber and the Belle, and the other half would know us as us. Mm-hmm. And so it'd be really awkward because we'd be talking and they'd be like, yo, I love, one half of the group would be like, yo, I love your podcast. I love episode so-and-so. And then another group would be like, you guys got a podcast?
Right. Yeah.
And then there'd be another group was like, wait a minute, you're the podcasters? Mm-hmm. And then it'd be awkward. They'd be like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. Wait, on episode 25, when the Belle was talking about somebody who prematurely ejaculated on her flats, that was me, wasn't it? And then when the Bomber was talking about smacking a big round black ass in a sexy hotel room, that was my wife. Oh my gosh. So it was one of those, some of those awkward moments had happened. So we were glad to just bring people together. Some people were being introduced to our non-podcast aliases, and others were finally being introduced to the Belle and the Bomber, and they were like, yo, we're definitely going to check out your podcast. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're talking about Joe Ass, just so you know, if you're listening right now. Crowd was very sexy.
Very sexy.
A lot of sexy folks in the crowd that I hadn't seen before. Mm-hmm. And that was pretty cool. So that's about it I wanted to say about the crowd. Let's talk about what it was, what the experience was as far as hosting our first party. Not hosting necessarily, but emceeing as the Bomber and the Belle. This was a first for us.
Yes.
Okay. But it was fun.
Yes.
But it was work.
Yes.
What was like the busiest part for you?
Probably the busiest part was when we were trying to play our last game. That was a little frantic. But otherwise it was okay. It wasn't too bad. I feel like, I think you were saying, the time went by really fast. Like, you wish the time didn't go by so fast, or like, we had more time. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but the time went by fast. So that was that. But I think overall we did a good job.
No, I think we did fine. There are a few things I would have done differently, but I do want to acknowledge that whenever I'm at a party, I'm sort of half emceeing sometimes, especially at Amour's parties. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I discover, and I think this is important for everyone to know if they plan on emceeing or hosting, you have these lifestyle people in the room, and I think a lot of times people are just sitting down and they're sort of waiting for something to happen. Yeah. And it almost always rests on them to make something happen. And if that's what your party does, a lot of times people aren't going to do anything. There might be one person who gets up and says, hey, there's hey, there's a Twister game, let's go and play that. Or hey, there's this game of like adult Jenga, let's play that. Every once in a while you get one person that'll sort of bring a crew over to do things. But a lot of times people are somewhat dormant. They're not really doing anything. They're just sort of sitting in the same spot and drinking until they feel drunk enough to get up and do something like take their clothes off or run around naked or touch a pair of titties or something like that. And so I think as MC, one thing I learned is that people really want to do stuff. A lot of times they want to do stuff, but they have to be pulled and they have to be pushed into it. But once they get on that stage, they are committed and they're going to go from 0 to 10. And we're going to get to a good example of that. But I just wanted to acknowledge that, like, sometimes you just have to like push somebody a little bit. And then once they're on stage, they're on it. And then everybody sees them and they see everybody watching them and they're ready to have a good time. Yeah. So I think those icebreaker games are really important. And we talked about this in another episode. After the party was all done, I was pretty fucking tired. After we were done with the games, I was tired. I remember being on the dance floor and some chick was giving me the meanest dub, one of the meanest dubs I've ever had in my life. She was just duddy whining that shit against me.
Okay, you have to explain dubs because don't nobody. That's
dubs.
Like you and your dudes. Don't nobody know what.
Nobody knows what dubs is.
No.
Oh shit. All right, maybe that's a New York thing. Dubs is basically when you're on the dance floor and a chick backs it up against you. Okay, she backs that ass up and she's shaking that ass up, and you're supposed to keep up with that shit. Okay. Usually I can keep up with that shit. 9 times out of 10, I'm with that shit. She goes low, I go low. Although as I've grown older, I can't really go that low. But moving on, like she shakes it to the right, I'm going to the right. I'm just enjoying this shit, and I can usually keep up with the best of them. I could not keep up with the best of them. At this party, I was like, I could only take an ass shake on my crotch, going low and going hard for like 45 seconds, and then I was done, and that's just never fucking happened before.
And the DJ was playing some great music. Yes. Like the DJ was fire. Like I was like, yes, all the old hits, all them booty shaking hits that you ain't heard in forever. I was like, yes, but I can't do nothing with this.
Yes, shout out to DJ Panama Supreme. Of Supreme Enterprises, keeping the tunes coming. The speaker system was excellent. Thanks for supplying the mic as well. Yes. Because that mic was like pivotal. Everything we were doing, everybody was an audience for. So we really appreciate that.
I want my own mic.
Yeah, we do have mics. We just have to like plug them up and shit.
But we need cordless mics.
We always need something.
We do.
So, Belle, I wanted to also acknowledge that before the Duddy Wine contest, and we're going to get to that right now, I was concerned about people not knowing what the Duddy Wine was.
I don't know why.
Well, a lot of people, some people
they
really
didn't
like
know
not
by
know.
name, but they knew what I was talking about.
No, they knew when you had actually given the Duddy Wine demonstration.
And my titty fell out.
And your titty fell out. And I was frantically trying to cover it, not because I was worried about people seeing your nipple. It's just that once your titty gets exposed, that's the only thing people are going to be paying attention to.
Yes.
Like everything you're saying doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter what's going on. In so a mass shooter could have came in and he wouldn't have sprayed any bullets because he would have saw the titty and he would have been mesmerized too, and nobody would have noticed him because they would have been looking at the titty. It's a very distracting titty. Very distracting. And once I saw the nipple, I was like, oh shit. It was like, I don't know. It was like this really, it was like the light of the sun, and it needed to be shaded. So anyway, let's talk about the Duddy Wine contest.
It was amazing.
It was fucking ignorant. Fucking ignorant shit.
It was amazing. So we had five contestants.
I think it was probably 5 at the first round. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the first. So it had 2 rounds. So the first round was 5 contestants. And so before they started dancing, like I wanted them obviously to introduce themselves, like so the crowd knew who they were. And then I wanted them to give their booty credentials. Like, so you're going to be in a booty shaking contest, an ass shaking contest. Like your ass has to be certified to be in this contest. So they had to let us know like why their ass was qualified to be in the contest. And we got some, some just ass, out the gate, born with the ass been all over, ass, from the 99s to the 2000s been shaking, all these different credentials.
That's right. Yep.
And then we got to this one girl and she was like, oh, my ass ain't got no credentials.
So we have to talk about the credential ass thing, because you're right. Asses go through a journey. I mean, we had a lot of like 30, 40-year-old asses at this party, and those asses have been through children. Those asses have been through many parties. Those asses have been tapped a few times, and those asses have been worked out. Some of them got some years on them. We had some Harriet Tubman asses. That have just been through the struggle. And so the booty credentials were important because as people see them asses shaking, they got to respect the ass. It's not just 2 jiggly cheeks. These asses have personality. These asses are people.
That's right.
All right, go ahead.
So they gave their booty credentials, and the last girl, she was like, my booty ain't got no credentials. Like, I don't even know why I'm up here. And see, here's the thing that I try to tell people, and they don't always understand. Like, I love a fat ass. Like, I love a big, juicy, round ass. But your ass don't always have to be big. I don't have a big booty. My booty is bigger than it was because I, for the longest, had like no ass. But I earned my booty, squats and deadlifts. But I will preach that to the day I die.
Hashtag squats and deadlifts.
Squats on shots. So your booty doesn't have to be ginormous for it to put in that work. Like little booties matter. Hashtag little booties matter. Little booties can do a whole lot too. Shout out to all the little booties out there listening right now. Yes. So she had a nice ass, but obviously it wasn't a big ass. And I was like, look, don't discredit your ass. It'll still do something. Shit. So DJ puts on the song, the Dirty Wine song. And this little booty chick goes wild. And we were like, she over here in the water, making it clap in the little spray water. She on the ground. This chick left the fucking stage. Left the stage all over the place. And so we had like, I guess, a double-sided stage. So people were on both sides of the stage. So I was like, look, y'all got to play to the crowd because they're the ones that are going to be judging. So you can't just like, the people in the pool got to see some ass. The people over in the grass got to see some ass. She was all over the place. And so was everybody else. And then the other contestants were still doing their thing too. And then they saw her. So then they were like, oh, okay, now we got to turn it up a notch. There was so much ass shaking. I was just looking everywhere. I saw bathing suits come out. There were bare ass and pussy at one point. Oh yes. Because then, you had to help it shake. Had to free the booty. Yeah. So I had randomly chosen 3 finalists, and it was very arbitrary. I just randomly chose. Like it wasn't like anybody did their ass shaking better than anybody else. I just chose quality. 3 random names because it was really hard. At one point, I was like, "Fuck the final, fuck the final choosing. Let's just have them all do some other shit again." But anyway, we had 3 finalists, and so then it just upped the ante. So then because an ass is good alone, but it's better when it's got a partner. So we asked our finalists to choose a partner. Didn't have to be their partner, but just choose a partner to then show how their assets worked on dubs. Is that kind of no, this is not the appropriate use of dubs. That was not the appropriate use of dubs. If they could give how well they could give dubs. There we go. Okay, yes. So how well they could give dubs. Yes. Random ass word. It doesn't make sense. Double cheek, son. Oh, come on now. Anyway, so they grabbed a partner and proceeded to grind and whine on their partner. Now, we had another little booty chick who we were not expecting to come out the gate at all like this. But homegirl that had won the first round, she grabbed a chair, so we already knew it was about to be something crazy. She grabbed a beach chair, the lounge chair, and was grinding on this girl, booty cheeks to booty cheeks, pussy to pussy. And then on the left-hand side, this girl and her partner, he picks her up and is like mock eating her pussy in midair. And it was incredible.
Yeah.
It was incredible. She was like grinding his face in midair. And I tried to do that with you, but you wouldn't pick me up.
There's no way I was going to be able to do that shit. I had politely bowed out of that challenge. Hell no.
You be working out though, babe.
I'd be working out, but not that kind of workout. So
I'm also not a small girl, so I understand.
Thank you. Appreciate that acknowledgement. I mean, you got a lot of muscle weight.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
All right. Yeah,
So,
that
the Dirty Wine
couple was
contest
doing
was-
some Cirque du Soleil shit,
Yeah.
though. I mean, he
definitely.
really lifted her up and was literally, he looked like he was eating her out
In midair, yeah.
in midair while she was still doing the fucking Dirty Wine.
Yeah.
So that was some incredible shit.
Mm-hmm. And first of all, and these people have been drinking, so I just don't know how, because my ass would have been fell down on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
But that was great.
Yeah, we had no fucking accidents. I mean, actually, I think the girl that was showing out around the pool actually did injure herself. She took one for the team. She had a battle wound.
She had some battle wounds.
Yeah.
But see, and you thought that was gonna be our worst game, and you just be doubting me, and I don't know why.
I don't doubt you.
Yes, you do.
It was a difficult game to facilitate at first. That's all I'm trying to say. It was sexy though. You did well. I took a back seat to that one. All right. So let's talk about the vendors.
Yes. So the reason my titty fell out was because I was wearing a very sexy ensemble by Sydney Rose.
Sydney Rose, that's right.
Yes. So it was like some strings. But it was cute. I actually didn't see myself in it because there was no full length mirror. But it was cute.
You should have told me. I would have took a picture of you.
Yeah,
because it was
I didn't
cute.
think
You
about
looked
that.
good in it. It's interesting because she had at first, y'all. We had like some modeling shit going on at this point.
Oh yeah, there was some models.
Let's talk about that, or just acknowledge that. So one of the models didn't show up. So you had stepped in to be a model for one of these outfits.
Yes.
And the vendor, and she didn't give me permission to say her name, so I won't. Had I was talking to her and I realized we had met before under interesting circumstances. And she was like, okay, so I don't know, one of my models didn't show up and I was just wondering if, your wife wouldn't mind modeling an outfit for me. And I was like, oh, you're missing a model. I was totally not like picking up on what she was asking. I was like, oh, okay, well, I could probably get one of these girls to model one of your outfits because, the bell is going to be busy. It's like, oh, okay. I just really wanted your wife, though, because I know exactly what outfit I want her to wear. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's all you had to say. Yeah. Because she was like, no, I want your wife, Belle, not another woman. I don't need another model. I need Belle for this shit. I'm like, well, I got a woman about the same size. No, I want Belle. Belle. So luckily you did because that outfit was very sexy.
Yes.
Okay, so there was some playroom action.
Yes. I walked into the playroom and I think I was just there to either go to the bathroom or bring some sheets. And I don't know, because we were all over the place. I didn't even think people were playing. But like the room was full. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was really nice in there. We got some red lights in the playroom, and it was really active for hours.
Yeah.
I was surprised. It got started early.
Yeah. That's why I was like, oh shit.
And what I liked about this particular playroom is it had windows on the outside, so people not windows like on the street, but like sort of facing the pool area,
so people could look in.
and people could look in. So me and you were playing in there, and people were looking at us, and that was pretty nice to see that. It's always nice to be watched. And we saw our single girl having her good time in there for the first time.
I was very proud.
Yeah, like proud parents, like, oh, she's growing up so fast.
Yes.
It's growing up so fast. Oh, she's getting eaten out. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, she's really taking that dick so well. So proud of her. Oh. Yes, we did our jobs well.
We did. We did a lot that day.
Yeah, we did. All right, I think that's it. I think that's those are all the highlights from the party. Again, we appreciate everybody coming through. It was a great time.
It was so fun. It was a great end to the summer.
Yeah, great end to the summer. I'm so happy the summer is over.
Oh,
Things have slowed down. We've actually had time to do shit. I actually went for a run this fucking morning. Ain't that a bitch? That hasn't happened for a while. What we got coming up?
We have the Amour Getaways Hotel Social.
Yes, the Hotel Social on the 14th. I think there are still spaces available for that.
And then there's a meet and greet. Amour Getaways meet and greet. I think that's on the 28th. Trivia game night at a cigar bar, which I think will be really fun. And we're going to a little meet and greet tonight too.
Yeah, so that meet and greet I think is going to be mixed a little bit, which is fine, I think, for a meet and greet. I don't think it's good for a party, but a meet and greet, it's
You mean mixed, like vanilla and lifestyle?
Yeah, like, because it's in like a public setting, and I feel that it's appropriate there. But a mixed house party with vanilla and lifestylers, I can't say it enough. I think it's a terrible idea. But this will be fine because nobody will be really exposing themselves here, and people seem to be really open minded. I think there'll be more lifestyle people than vanilla people, and I think the vanilla people that are going are like lifestyle curious, so that's a little better for me.
And then we do have the cabin getaway October 4th with Marla Stewart doing the squirting and flirting workshop, and I think there might be still some rooms available on that trip. And then we're going to the Synergy Halloween party.
Yes, so that's going to be on October 26th. So we just bought our tickets for that. This is our first Synergy Halloween party, but we've been to other Synergy parties, and Synergy is just they've been like, what has it been, 3 for 3 as far as their crowd. Yeah. I'm telling you, like 80-70% of the crowd is sexy. And you can't beat that. So if you can go to the Synergy party, I mean, it's kind of more exclusive kind of thing, which is probably why their crowds are so sexy, because you can't just show up to this shit, and you can't even just buy tickets. You have to be part of their network. You got to apply and all this shit. So check it out. For those of you who are still trying to get on Amour Getaways membership, remember that you can get a discount if you use the promotion code Black and Kinky. So please do that. Also, email us at blackandkinkylifestyle@gmail.com. Subscribe on iTunes, SoundCloud. Send us your comments. Send us your questions. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We enjoy hearing from you guys. We enjoy, getting feedback. It's been really helpful for improving the show, improving our sound, and just improving our content. And really,
just don't send us no weird email. Like, we got an email like, call me. Like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, we're not doing that shit. I mean, we're not doing that. We're not doing like don't. Listen, we want to show love to all of our listeners, but we're just not doing that kind of thing. Thanks. I just appreciate you bringing that up, because there's been a few people who've just been, yo, holla at me. Yo, show up here. Like, no, we're not doing. This is a podcast. We're not fucking offering an escort service.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's all for today. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. This is the Bell and Bomber signing off. Peace out.
Bye.
Black and kinky lifestyle.